Thank you for joining us today at Girl Scouts of Central California South for our 7 Principles of Leave No Trace. My name is Mary Higgins, and I'm a Girl Experience Facilitator here at Girl Scouts of Central California South. The 7 Principles of Leave No Trace are well established and widely known, but they are not static. The Leave No Trace Center for Outdoor Ethics continually examines, reevaluates, and reshapes these principles. The Center's educational department conducts research, including publishing scholarly articles in independent journals, to ensure that the principles are up to date with the latest insights from biologists, land managers, and other leaders in outdoor education. The following is their current principles as is listed on the Leave No Trace website. The first principle is to plan ahead and prepare. Whether it's a big trip across the world or a short hike of half a mile from home, you need to prepare for your excursion into nature. Planning helps ensure your safety, prepares you to minimize resource damage, helps you to accomplish trip goals safely and enjoyably, and increases self-confidence and opportunities for learning more about nature. Before you go on any trip outdoors, you need to keep in mind the skill and ability of those going. Research your destination, the weather, terrain, and regulations, and choose equipment and clothing for comfort and safety. When returning home, you should review your adventure and record any changes you'd make for next time. A Girl Scout journal would be great for this purpose. Principle number 2 is travel and camp on durable surfaces. Girl Scouts travel in the outdoors, being careful to avoid damage to the environment. Travel damage occurs when walking through an area causes plants or organisms to be trampled beyond recovery. This leads to soil erosion and the creation of undesirable trails. Girl Scouts learn how backcountry travel can involve both on-trail and off-trail hikes and how best to avoid damage. Can the land you are hiking or camping on recover from a group your size walking or camping there? Always try to make the least impact by staying on trails, spreading out if walking in a group while off-trail, and camp on surfaces that can hold up to a lot of use. How you camp is dependent on where you camp. For example, camping in high-use areas, in remote undisturbed areas, and by waterways each have their own set of rules how best to be a good steward of the land. The third principle is dispose of waste properly. We all know that Girl Scouts strive to leave a place better than they found it. But are you aware of all the different wastes you will need to be responsible for when in the out of doors? We all know how to pick up after ourselves, and part of the planning process will make that a bit easier. If you place your food in reusable, recyclable bags for your trip, you will have less garbage than if you brought the whole container. Also, it may be a good idea to bring along extra bags and gloves to help out the environment by cleaning up behind less conscientious travelers. After all, Girl Scouts make the world a better place. But have you considered some of the even yuckier waste than just someone else's used bubblegum and cigarette butts? When in the backcountry, there are no restrooms. You may have to learn about cat holes or bringing special containers to pack out your own human waste. Number 1 and number 2, and especially toilet paper. Ew. You will need to research the rules about that for the place you are planning to travel. The fourth principle of Leave No Trace is leave what you find. When in the outdoors, especially at parks or on public lands, remember to only take home the memories and maybe photos, but leave all the really neat things you have found for the next person to enjoy. Also, you never know how removing that item from the environment may affect the whole microcosm. Also, do not alter any of the sites where you camp. Do not dig trenches or create improvements. Do not alter trees by carving initials or hammering nails, or cutting branches for the ease of camping. Do not leave marks on rocks. If you clear an area of surface rocks, twigs, or pine cones for your campsite, replace these items before leaving. The next item we'll discuss is minimize campfire impacts. Girl Scouts know how to be careful with fire and how and why to make sure a fire is extinguished at the end of the day, but there are more considerations when adventuring into the wilds. One consideration is if you really even need a fire. Sure, a fire creates ambiance, but if you're at high elevations or in an area with very few trees, it may be best to stick to backpacking stoves, as using up scarce resources would have a much greater impact than it would in a heavily wooded area. The best place for a campfire is in a metal ring at an established campsite. Also, you never want to transport wood from one location to another to burn at your campsites, as you may inadvertently spread insects and disease from one area to another. And we all know that plastic and foil-lined wrappers should never be burned in a fire. After your fire is extinguished, scatter any unburnt logs and replace any soil to return the area to the way you found it, or as close as possible. Respecting wildlife is the next principle we'll discuss. If you come across wildlife on your adventures outdoors, do your best not to engage them or disturb them. Observe wildlife from a distance so they do not get scared or feel forced to flee. Loud noises or quick movements are disturbing to most animals and should be avoided. The exception is in bear country, where you should make a little noise so as not to startle a bear. Most importantly, do not feed wildlife, as this foreign food may disrupt their natural diet or normal eating habits, creating many more problems than you may think. It could even create nuisance animals that may have to be removed from their home environments because of the impacts of human behaviors. Store your food appropriately and secure your garbage and food scraps away from animals. If you find an animal that you think is sick or in trouble, notify a game warden or park ranger for assistance. And the last principle of Leave No Trace we'll talk about is to be considerate of other visitors. As Girl Scouts, we strive to be considerate and caring, and we bring this with us into the outdoors. This behavior helps everyone enjoy their outdoor experience. Many people come to the outdoors to listen to nature. Being in nature is such fun. It is easy for kids to get carried away and call to each other and laugh loudly. But remember, excessive noise, uncontrolled pets, and damaged surroundings take away from the natural appeal of the outdoors. You can make sure to maintain the peacefulness of nature by keeping your voices down, your group size small, and avoiding trips on busy holidays or weekends. Technology has always shaped the outdoor experience, from scientific expeditions to GPS location to hiking with your earbuds playing your favorite music to taking photos. Be sure to thoroughly consider how your experience is affecting the way someone else enjoys the outdoors. For example, earbuds may be a less obtrusive way to listen to music than external speakers, but if you have the volume turned up so high that you can't hear someone behind you who wants to pass, your personal preference for music will negatively affect other people. When sharing the trail, the general rules of etiquette are: hikers headed downhill will step aside to allow an uphill foot traveler to easily pass. Hikers will yield to equestrians, talking quietly to the riders as they pass, since horses are easily spooked. Bicyclists will yield to both hikers and equestrians on trails and use courtesy when passing. When traveling to remote locations, be extra conscious about your impact, and when camping, choose a site where rocks or trees will screen it from views of others. Keep noise down in camp so as not to disturb other campers or those passing by on the trail. Keep pets under control at all times. Always pick up your dog's feces from camps and trails. Some areas prohibit dogs or require them to be on a leash at all times. We thank you for joining us today here at Girl Scouts of Central California South for our 7 principles of Leave No Trace. Now head on over to Kahoot and join us for a game. The game pin code is 0644726. This Kahoot challenge will be active until July 16th, 2020. Thanks again, and hope you'll join us next time.